Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. She give me a bit of her love.
Yo, what up, y'all? Welcome to another one, man. It's your boy, Ra1, and this is Sparking Conversation. And y'all know what I do each and every week, man. I get up here and I talk to some of the world's most interesting people. And tonight, I'm going to do the same thing. But before we get into that, let's get into some other things like we do every week as well, which is me giving thanks to all the people that download the audio version of this platform. Y'all are the real MVPs. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are the reason why this platform is moving around the world. I definitely appreciate y'all. And I want to always make sure I shout y'all out because I know y'all listening to me. So because I know you guys are probably being able to see me because you can, because we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on Facebook and all the other places, right? But the audio listeners, is something different about them, right? Because we know that they're listening. They're not really too caught up in what we look like, what my guests look like, what's going on. They want to know what we're talking about. And I think that's one of the dopest things about having a platform because, people can get caught up in how many views and how many likes they get, right? Whether they feel like their platform is doing any good. But you got to realize the conversation that you have with your guests, or if you're a solo podcaster, people are paying attention and they're listening. Now, they may not respond in the way that we would like them to. And what I mean by that is, likes, comments, shares, and all that other stuff. They're not going to do that. But some people are going to take that information in. Why? Some people don't want to share certain things that you say because it'll shed the light on how they really feel. So they know that you really talking something that they might, that might be something real, and it affects them. But they don't want other people to know what they're being affected by. So you got to remember that as well, too, as to why you may not get as much, traction as you may like from the visual parts. But whenever you're doing this podcasting thing, remember, it's the audio. The biggest podcasters in the world became the hugest based on the audio, not based on how they look, not based on the visual. So thank y'all. All right. I'm going to make sure I say that each and every week. So we got to get into a few things before I bring my guest up. But one of those things that we have to get into, which I like to get into each and every week, is I like to tell everyone that I really appreciate y'all push and play on all the content that I'm dropping. I think that's the dopest because doing comedy and doing content, right? Or living in your passion and in your dream or in your vision. Let me not say too much about your dream, but living in your vision. We know that comes with this undesirable feeling of continuation, right? It doesn't matter. Like, you're not the person that's waiting on everyone in the world to catch on to you before you feel like what you're doing is important. You jump out the window early and you make it happen. And then the people catch up, right? Because that's how it goes. So with that being said, I would like to thank y'all all for push and play on Oob Lifter Part 24. All right. That one was for last week. And today we just dropped Oob Lifter Part 25 featuring Big Unk, Sergio Fevers, and I want y'all to continue to bless us by pushing play, hitting comments and hitting shares because we thank y'all. All right, because we know that this ain't for nothing. What I like to say to most people is that so many people find it hard to be themselves, right? Because they want to be everything else everyone else expects them to be. But being yourself is one of the hardest things that most people have trouble with. So whenever it comes down to being creative, that's a part of you. It's a gift that you was given. It wasn't something that you had to go out and look for. You had to go buy. You had to go purchase. You had to get with somebody else to tell you whether it was good or not. This is something that you feel on the inside. So for all y'all that push play, thank y'all because I appreciate y'all. Word. All right, we don't wait, we create. August 22nd, we got Vincent M. Ward from The Walking Dead will be in the building. So we need all of y'all. Go ahead and get them tickets early. Go ahead and be in the building if you are a content creator, if you're a filmmaker, if you're an artist, if you're a model, if you're a brand, if whatever it is that you do in the entertainment business, you want to be there. Why? Because these are the connections that you want to make. It's so often that we have networking events, but never is it so much that somebody brings somebody that could really give you the tools that you need to go further. Whether it's just the motivation, whether it's just information, because that's what we need. Everybody needs information more than they need anything else. You need the information and they could do it themselves, right? So we got entertainment attorneys going to be in the building. We got patent, and because you got to own your IP. So we're gonna have all those different pieces in the building. So you want to be there, you want to get this information. So again, we don't wait, we create. Vincent M. Ward from The Walking Dead, True Blood, Ocean's 11, and so many other movies. He got the new movie Stepdaddy that just dropped April 28th. That's everywhere, distributed by Lionsgate, and also got Devereaux that's out right now. So y'all want to check in with these cats, right? So be there. That's all I'm gonna say is be there. All right. We don't wait, we create. And for those of y'all that may be suffering from things inside your body, we talk about this every week because what I believe is health as well. We want to make sure that people get the information. So I say this, and I'm going to keep saying this. Everyone, look up the effects of parasites in the body. If you look up the effects of parasites in the body, and you can compare that to anything that you may be dealing with. And if there's something that you're dealing with that you might not have known about, you might have thought it was something that came from somewhere else, something else, but not knowing it's something that you ate, right? That wasn't fully cooked. And you didn't know that it was good. It was whatever. It's a lot of places that people go. People travel different countries and different places and they eat, but very seldom do they check that part. So if you guys if you will, check those out, check yourself. And if it comes back that you're dealing with anything that remotely reminds the fact that you may have parasites, then click the link in the description, right? So you can get the heavy metal and toxin binder, and you can also get the parasite detox, because that's what we want to make sure that people understand, that it is help out here. You don't have to just suffer through things just because somebody said that that's what we do. We don't do that. We don't suffer through. We help ourselves. There's nobody outside of us coming to help us. We have to help ourselves. All right. So look, I want to be real with y'all, right? I want to be 1,000% real with y'all, all right? Because there's a lot of things going on out here. So I'm gonna get into my rant real quick because I got my guests coming up, and we're gonna have a really good conversation with my guests because it's interesting to know what people go through, all right, outside of what your normal would be. And my guest that's coming up, he has a story, and it's a deep story, right? Because in so many conversations you can have with people, you know, uh, people like to have their own prejudgment or pre-thought about a person based on whatever information they give out before they have the conversation with them. And I'm blessed and thankful that my guest decided that he wanted to come and share his story on my platform. Why? Because there's a lot of things that's going on out here in the world, but one of the things that most people are not is upfront about themselves. We talk about this all the time. Like, yo, people are very, very hard on themselves. At the same time, they're not themselves. So my guest is going to come up here today. We're going to chop it up and we're going to get into his life, but I'm not going to tell y'all too much until he get on because, hey, listen, man, this is his story, and I'm thankful that he chose this platform to share it with. But before we get into that, let's get into this because there's so much going on out here in the world. Now, one of the things that people have been hitting me up throughout the week, wondering if I'm going to speak about today, and that is this whole alien disclosure thing, right? So many people have been hitting me saying, yo, Rod, you think this is just a distraction from the Epstein files? Do you think that this, that, and the third, and all these other things? But no, I don't think so. Because here's the thing. Whatever's going on in the Epstein files and all the people that's connected to it, these are the people that's been running the world, the governments, and all that forever. So whatever they want to do or however that information is getting divvied out, it's going to get divvied out. But who's going to bring them justice? Who's going to bring the justice? Right? Because the very same people who is going to enact the justice are the people that's a part of it. So how is that going to work? So for everybody that's so wanting to know about Jeffrey Epstein and everything that was going on in the files and all of these things, right, that makes it more important to them than they want to find out if there's other things out here living besides us. And look, I personally pictured the aliens myself not being set up for this, because what I think, and this is just my opinion, it's up to y'all. Y'all could go look it up. Y'all can go figure it out. But whatever they're saying is supposed to be coming or whatever, they already been here. It's nothing new, right? These drawings are in caves. They're hieroglyphs of all of these things coming from outside of this world or inside of the world or just outside of the ice wall, right? Whatever it is. But those things, if they was going to attack us, if they was going to harm us, if they was going to do it, they would have been did it. I just think that these places, what they do is that they inhabit this earth together. This is their home too. So what I'm figuring out, if there's anything that's going to come from the outside to destroy this, then who's going to be here to help protect this from those that's going to destroy it? So if there is some type of government conspiracy, because they've been talking about this the whole time from Blue Beam and all these other things, that they're going to use something to usher in this new world order. What they're going to do is going to make us feel attacked by something that brings everybody together so everybody can fall in line. And I'm saying to y'all, if any of y'all out here are going to fall for that, then you're going to fall for anything, okay? Because these extraterrestrials, interterrestrials, aliens, whatever you want to call them, they've been here. This is not new. Check your scriptures. Check everywhere else. They've been here. This ain't nothing new. These cats ain't just showing up. Word, they've been here. And so if they've been here, then what are they going to do? They live here. Right? Yes, we understand that certain things are tied to different extraterrestrials that's supposed to be here, right? We understand that. When all these people go missing and we got blood banks everywhere, and where the blood go, right? We see that all of these places, if you work in corporate America, it's nothing for you to ride by and see that there's a blood bank, van out there, whatever, having people donate blood. But where the blood going to? Huh? Where's it going? Who needs it? And it's only one type of blood type that could go with everybody. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that, they taking it from anybody and everybody and not even understanding whether people, if their blood is viable or not. Some people walk around here with things inside of them and they don't care. They still take your blood. So where's it going? Right? So it's a lot of things that we can compare to certain things. But for those of y'all that's going to live in fear, y'all talking about the hot 2 virus or the Hana virus or hot tuna, whatever the hell the name of the virus is, right? Right. But there's nobody talking about hell, right? They'll scare you with that part, but not tell you what you need to do to help back. Because anything that is being used on this earth against us, there's something on this earth to help us. I'm just saying, y'all, for all of y'all that's been hitting me up, they're scared and all these other things. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all even, checking in with me, thinking that, knowing that I'm going to say something about it. I respect it. Trust me. I'm not downing y'all. I'm not dissing y'all. I'm not telling y'all crazy for none of that. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying to y'all is that the spirit of fear, that's not for us. That's not for us. There's so many things in this world that's living off of our fear. Energy vampires are real, and fear, the lowest vibration that you can have. There's things and people out here who live off of that. Think about it. How often do you go on social media and you see a whole bunch of negative shit from somebody who really should be thankful that they got what they got, right? But anyway, I'm just going to say this to all my people that's been hitting me. Yo, I feel y'all. I understand, but trust me. If there's something from outside of this world that was coming here to destroy us, they would have been done it. It's not going to happen now. If it's happening now, it's because somebody is manufacturing it. All these so-called generals and all these heads of these people that's been going through all of these disclosures are disappearing or they're dead. So in order for them to be either disappearing or dead, that means they must know something that other people don't want other people to know. That's what it's about. So if they know that it's a hoax coming, that's the only reason why I can say why they're not here. Or why people are gone, or why or why all of a sudden these generals and all these other places are missing, and why they having secret meetings with churches. Why? Because the spirit of fear have been taught through the church for years. How many people have been told based on how you live, how you look, what you got, whether you're gonna go to hell or not? So I'm saying to y'all, what else can they do but put y'all in a state of fear? When the when the COVID-19 came around, what happened? Scared, shitless. People running around here wearing masks and all other kind of stuff. But your skin is the biggest organ on your body. You covering your face, but all this is wide open. Still see people walking around here with masks on. It's weird. But if you're gonna do anything, the last thing you need to do is be scared. I promise you. Whatever's gonna happen, we're gonna fight. And if it go down to it, it's you against whoever, right? But we only get this life that we're living in this time. Of course, some of us and a lot of us have been here a billion times before. But as far as what's going on now, get out of your fear-based, fear-mongering. Do not be scared. What's going to happen? What are they going to do? They're going to destroy everything, and then for what? What is the destroying for? What are they going to do? What is they going to do? People were talking about AI. Me personally, I've been following the money, and every time I look and see that there's some billionaire or something else up in something to get more, then they not scared of stuff being destroyed. But I do see it. All right. But look, we're going to get into some comments real quick before I bring my guest up. Lynn, what's up, Lynn? Oh, man, Vanessa, facts. You know what I'm saying? Be yourself. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with being you. Health is wealth. That's a super fact. And that's what we preach on here. All right, what's good, bro? I appreciate you checking in. Cam, what's good, bro? My man. Good to see you, bro. Giovanna, appreciate you. Yeah, true. I feel you. I can't wait for us to have our conversation. It was coming up soon. That's facts. Word. Let me see what else going on here. There was a theory on aliens said about humans saying they view them as dangerous that can destroy our own planet and killing other species. I believe that, yo. I do. And I think that's why a lot of things have been happening in different places because they are not allowing this place to get destroyed. That's why I feel like if there's something that's going to come in to try to destroy it, then who's going to defend it? Because the ones that are here already ain't trying to leave. That's a fact. They're destroying from within, and you know that's a fact too. Come on. Right. We all have the resources we need, and the scientists knew this. And this is why a lot of y'all are stuck in certain situations that you're in right now because you believe in everything but yourself. And that's crazy to me. But look, let's not go any further because I got my guest and I'm about to bring him up, Matt Melvin. Matt is coming on the show because this is the thing that I felt like was really interesting about his story. Now, Matt has a situation going on in his life where, bullying. Now, I know so many people go through different stages of bullying in their life, right? Depending on who you are, how you are, what you look like, how you dress, whatever these things are, what you represent, what you identify as, could put you in the sense of bully. We know that people who just look like me, just skin color, been bullied for hundreds of years just based on that. So being bullied or having the mindset of understanding what it's like to be that is different. But what I like about what Matt's story is that it's very complex in the way that it looks, but not necessarily. I think a lot of people will be able to relate to his story, even if you don't relate to everything that's a part of his story. So let's do this. Let's get him up here real quick so he could tell y'all himself.
Hey, I'm here.
You're here, man. I keep you, bro. Word. Hey, so listen, let's do this, man, because like I said, your story is amazing, but I need people to know more about it. So look, tell people, introduce yourself to the audience and then let them know why you're on the platform this evening.
My name is Matt Melvin. I wrote a book called Bullied Behind Bars. A gay Christian Trump supporter goes to prison. I wrote it the second time I was in prison, 10 institutions, 4 states, 16 months, and then a month and a half in a halfway house.
Facts. So, what you write in that book? Let's talk a little bit about your backstory, right? Before we get too much into the book, we want to get into that, but let's talk a little bit about it. All right. So, prison, behind bars. First of all, what put you in the position that had you behind bars?
The first or the second time?
Either, both.
The first time I worked at a car dealership, they didn't pay me the commissions that I earned. I impulsively chose to sell one of their cars.
You impulsively chose to sell one of their cars. So how break that down for us. What does that mean? You impulsively chose because you was there to sell cars, right?
Yes, but I sold it to another dealership to try to recoup some of the money that they had stolen from me.
I get it. So you took a car from one dealership, sold it to another dealership for lower than what it's worth, of course, so they could make money off of it too. And in the interim, they paid you that difference, and you took that as a means of getting your money that they didn't pay you for working.
I
And
never
that put you in prison.
I got caught way before that ever happened.
Gotcha. And that put you in prison. And so what happened the second time?
I couldn't pass the background check. In 2009, I used other people's information to work. I did the work. The government pursued me for 6 years, spent $500,000, went to 10 grand juries, finally got a grand jury indictment against me in 2016.
Man, you was moving around, Matt. What made you so with these choices that you made, what was the main reason behind it besides the first one, right? We know that they didn't pay you, but what was the energy behind all these choices that you made that wound you up in prison? Like, was it just basic rebellion or just life choices?
I couldn't pass a background check. I couldn't work.
Gotcha. And in that, so you couldn't pass a background check to work. So you did what you could so you could work, but you used other people's identity. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. So, all right. So all of these things, well, the things that you went through is just based on choices that you make, right? So
everybody can choose the sin. You can't choose the consequence.
That's facts. That's true. That's true. That's very true. So talk to us a little bit about your story. Like, I know you said that you were a gay Trump supporter. So, and then you were bullied behind bars. So how did people, like, in the sense of you being behind bars and stuff like that, how did that become a thing for you to be bullied based on you supporting Trump?
It was more so around being gay, being autistic, being different, not being a drug dealer like most people who are in prison.
So it was just because you were all right. So the people, but which is weird because in prison there are a lot of gay men or men that act and that do gay acts because they're in there. So I wonder why they chose you to bully like that. Was it based on just your personality or what? How did that work? Was it just that you were outspoken? What made them target you?
I've always been outspoken.
Okay. So what are some of the things that, I mean, talk to us because it's your story. I don't want to pull too much out without you giving it. So what in what sense did that get? Like, how did people, first of all, how did they know you were gay? Because it seemed like that's information that people have to find out based on you saying, or what was it that made them, how did they figure that part out?
I told them I was gay.
You just was telling people that? Like,
well, I wasn't announcing it, but
okay.
I am a very transparent, honest person. Ever since I had a near-death experience in August 2015, I turned my life over to God and gave up stealing and being dishonest and started living a much more honest life.
And so the inspiration behind your book was based on those experiences that you had in prison, right?
And being bullied. I didn't want anybody to have to go through what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to share my story.
Gotcha. What are some of the things that you went through so the audience can know?
Well, I have autism. I'm on the Asperger's spectrum. I was raped in prison. I was assaulted by a sex offender. My journal entries were stolen from me.
Oh, okay. And so those are some of the things that happened to you. And so I guess for me, what I'm trying to I guess I want you to be able to, what I'm saying, express yourself the best way possible. I don't want you to, because I have to ask questions because you're not really giving out the information, but I don't know at what part where the Trump part comes in. So let's talk a little bit about that. What made people target you based on Trump?
A lot of people thought that Trump was going to be in prison. They didn't like Trump. They blamed Trump for them being in prison.
Yeah. So how do they tie that to you?
Because I support Trump. I always have.
Okay. And so with that support, is that always something that you've been vocal about? So even in prison, you was talking about Trump and
I
talking
was.
about things that
Yes.
okay. In what context? People were asking you, or you were just volunteering information?
No, people ask me.
Hmm. Okay. And so with them asking you, what and I'm still trying to figure it out because people don't like Trump, right? And then there's a million people that do. So prison, I'm trying, like, I wouldn't know, right? Like, in the sense of being in prison, you said some people blame Trump for why they were in prison, and because you supported Trump, they automatically disliked you. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know. I just feel like, all right. So talk to us a little bit about the book. What is the development of the book, right? How did besides the things that you said that you went through, right? Because some of the things that you said yourself, like you were dishonest, you had done these things, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so, right. So part of your consequence for those things that you've done was prison and all these other things that come with it. Um, First of all, I feel bad that you were, sexually assaulted and raped and all these other things because, male or female, that's not something that anybody wants to go through at all. Nobody asks for that, right? So I feel bad that you had to go through that. But at the same time, I still would like to know more about, the basis of the book, like, because you wrote it and you didn't want anybody else to go through the things that you went through, but at the same time, how often did you go through these things?
Go through what things?
All the things that you went through. You said that you were bullied, you were harassed, you were doing all these things. How often do these things take place?
Oh,
Because
daily.
to write a book about it, it's
Daily. Every single moment, every single day.
mm. Okay. And so now, what has come about since your book? Has it been inspiring? Has a lot of people come to you saying, "Thank you for your story. This is inspiring. This is how have you been received by the book so far from people who have checked
Mixed
it out?"
reviews. Some people like it and some people don't like it.
All right. What are some of the things that people like about it?
They like the vulnerability, the honesty, the transparency.
Okay. And what didn't they like?
That I identified names. I put people's names in the book. I didn't change anybody's names. I laid it all out there.
Okay. So as
Me,
far
that
as
was
name,
cathartic.
say that again.
It was cathartic for me to share my story, and I didn't want to change anything that happened.
Okay. And so when you said you mentioned names in the book, so the names that you mentioned are the people who didn't like it, or what? What made who was the people that didn't like it based on
My
names?
family members thought that my life might be in danger as a result of identifying judges, lawyers, police officers.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see how that would be a concern of family members who care about you, based on that, because retaliation is a real thing.
It is.
People don't. Yeah, people don't like their secrets out there, right? So yeah, I can understand that completely. So whenever you say judges, police officers, and all these things, you name all these people and specific things that they've done to you, or just the things that were involved in just certain cases of yours.
I
You
laid
had
it all
two.
out there about what their role was in my prosecution. I didn't hold anything back. I was very transparent and laid it all out there.
Okay. And so, because with that, yeah, a lot of things can come from that, right? People could try to sue you, all these other things. So have you been
No, I haven't been
approached?
sued. You know why? Because you can't sue somebody when they tell the truth. You can only sue somebody if they lie. or they manufacture something that's not true.
Gotcha. So because everything that you said was true, did you hear any backlash coming from those people as far as no threats to you, no messages, no take this down, don't do that, no nothing? They just stay quiet about what you're doing and how you're naming them and stuff like that?
Apparently, I haven't heard anything
Okay. Well, how long has this book how long has the book been out?
since February 2022.
Oh, it's been a while. And nobody said anything. Okay. So, with that being said, tell people, like, if there's anything that you would like people to know more about your story, what are some of the lessons that you learned throughout the ordeals of things that you've gone through?
Breaking the law is never the answer. Taking the law into your own hands is never the answer. Seeking God, seeking a higher power, surrendering yourself, getting out of victimhood, taking ownership for my life, forgiving yourself, loving others, letting go of anger, resentment, frustration, because all of that is keep you in bondage.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Very much so. So, your family, so are your parents around or not, or how does that look for you? Like, how was you growing up? Like, how was it growing up for you?
I was bullied throughout all of my childhood into high school and college.
And that was just based on, your identity, your sexuality, or what was it?
Being autistic, being overweight for most of my life,
Gotcha.
allowing
So,
bullies to take advantage of me,
mm,
not standing
yeah,
up for myself.
yeah. Well, fear will do that, right? Fear will have a lot of people not standing up for themselves. There's a lot of people who go through things each and every day that because they're scared to speak up, they just allow it to happen to them, right? So I definitely can get that. So as far as your sexuality, you've always known that you were gay?
Absolutely, yes.
Gotcha. And so from that, do you think, all right, so with you knowing that, was it something that immediately you accepted and you were telling people, or was it just something that people were just trying to kind of pick up from your mannerisms, or maybe something about the way you act or something, or just something to call you because you were dealing with different things? Like you said, you're on the spectrum and you was overweight. So are those things that made people just call you certain names, or were you forthcoming as a child or young about your sexuality?
I was different. I just didn't fit in.
Okay, explain what you mean by that.
Well, like I said, I was heavy for most of my life until I lost 100 pounds, and I never once set foot in a gym.
Okay, so how did you lose your weight?
Exercise and diet. Diet is really the key, because if you're exercising and you haven't changed your diet, you're spinning your tires.
Mm. So you didn't go to the gym, but you exercise. So was that more outside, outdoors? What was that? What was your exercises to lose 100 pounds? Because you say you lost
Walking,
100 pounds, right?
walking, and
Mm.
changing my diet. I was going out to eat 5 days a week.
Okay, and change your diet into what? How did you actually change it? What did you do
Better
differently?
food. Watching the
Better food.
calories I put in my body.
Gotcha.
If
And
at the back of a label, folks, and you can't pronounce an ingredient, do not eat it.
I like that advice. I like that advice a lot. So whenever you decided to lose the weight, at what age were you?
37.
37. So what you were saying that you were heavyweight for most of your life? If
I
that's
was,
what you were saying?
yes.
Hmm. Okay.
I mean, when I
And
was a child, I wasn't overweight, but I started overeating to deal with the bullying.
Gotcha. And so the bullying, it just because it seemed like you've been dealing with that part a lot
Oh, I
throughout
still
life.
deal with it today. But the difference today is I don't allow other people to beat me up, whether it's physical or emotional.
Mm.
And I don't allow other people to live rent free in my head.
Gotcha. So what did you do to change those things? How did you, because I think the audience would benefit from understanding that portion, because there's a lot of people who are going through things every day. And for you to say what you say just now, it would help a lot of other people if that mentally they need that type of motivation. So how did that come about?
What other people think of me is none of my business. Loving
Hmm.
myself, not looking to the outside world for validation,
Hmm.
surrounding yourself with positive people, removing
Hmm.
toxic people out of your life, and being grateful for the small things. When you're in prison and you are told what to do every single moment of every day, you become humble to things that people on the outside world take advantage of. For example, being able to turn off your light. You don't have that opportunity in prison. That light stays on all night long.
Hmm.
Being able to go to the bathroom without having a toilet that's exposed to the dormitory. Being able to close
Gotcha.
the door. Being able to walk outside. Enjoying the sunshine. The small things we take for granted. In prison, you don't have that. Being able
Mm.
to choose what food you put into your body. When you're in prison, you get a tray, 3 hots, and a cot. And you either eat that food or you go hungry. Your choice. And that food is not even close to McDonald's, let's just say.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, I understand. So in that, with that being said, because I think you said a lot there that was good. You know, not allowing people to live rent free in your head, which is very important because a lot of people suffer from things that happen in their past, right? Very few people have healed from their trauma. And most adults nowadays, they suffer through trauma that they happened when they was a child. Not always everything that happened to them as an adult. It's just that the things that happened to them as a child shaped how they think and how they act as adults, right? So I think although those are simple, because it's not really easy to do, even though those are simple answers, right? Especially whenever you said not seeking outside validation. You know, social media has made it to where people, they live off of that attention that they get from strangers, right? Validation, whether they feel like, yo, I could do this, but I don't know. This person said I wasn't, or this person didn't think that, and now I don't want to do it. You know, there's a lot of people like that, and then there's people who deal with people in their lives every day, people that they claim they love, people that claim to love them, and the whole time they've been holding them back. You know, and so I understand that it takes a level of, and I don't want to say selfishness, right? Because I know that that word can be taken out of context, but it takes a level of self awareness for a person to really just be able to stand on what they believe about themselves. Because so many people live off of what another person thinks of them. And I think you said that, you know, earlier about, you know, now I don't care what other people think of me. But when we're young, that's the one thing that nobody teaches us, right? Is to not care what other people think because they want you to fit in. They teach us all the things to try to fit in and be down and be around other people. Hey, go share, go do this, go do that. I want you to be around other people, socialize. Not knowing that, you know, without a certain type of identity, once you get around other people, you pretty much pick up their identities and whatever they have going on at home, right? Because everyone doesn't have a stable environment to grow up in. Broken home, single parents, or whatever. So, as far as you, was your upbringing like that? Did you have both of your parents with you, broken home, single parent, or whatever? How did that work?
I had both parents been married for 50 something years.
Hmm. And so the example of them, how did that help you at all? Because I mean, you identify as gay, and you said you did that early on in life. Um, had you ever found love in that lane?
Not really.
Is that part of how does that make you feel? Let me just ask that
That's a good
in the
question.
sense of that.
It's hard. Very, very hard to not
Okay.
know if there's, you know, somebody out there for me. But I also, on the other hand, I don't want to be in a toxic relationship. So I'd rather
Okay.
be single and happy than in a relationship that I don't isn't healthy. And if
Okay.
you are in a relationship that isn't healthy, get out of it because it's not going to change.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not, right? For a lot of people. So with okay, so with that being said, is that because I find that interesting, right? Because in the sense of love, right? We all experience it some type of way, right? Um, just not always the way that we want it. And I don't know if that is outside of us or is really us, right? The thing that makes us whoever we are on the inside, is that our limitation? Are we limiting ourselves to the things that are around us? Or did we look a gift horse in the mouth sometimes? Sometimes the person that would love you the most is not ideally what you're looking for, like or how they look, or a lot of people base their relationships off of preferences instead of standards, right? Most people like to be in a relationship with somebody that they prefer to be in a relationship with, but not come with a certain level of standards to help you to understand whether this person is going to be there for you in the long haul, or is it just a right now thing. And I wonder, I often wonder, because I can't relate to homosexuality, right? All I could do is respect people who live in their truth. And that's how I've always been. I have people in my family or people I've been around, grew up around, entertainment business. It's a lot of that. And all the things. But what I come to find out, that anybody who lives that particular lifestyle, it all boils down to them, right? They, from their explanation to me, it's just up to them, right? Sometimes people, they attract the things in their lives because of how they speak, right? If they always say, I can't find nobody, I ain't gonna have nobody this, nobody that, then that's what you're gonna get. The universe responds to what you put out there.
Right, I
So
agree.
I'm curious, how often do you speak the positive in your life versus the things that you've had going on negative?
I speak the positive most of the time.
Oh well, most of the time things still, it takes a level of I don't know. It's effort, right? It takes a lot of effort to speak positively over your life every day, even if the things that are going on are not positive. It takes a lot of effort to just speak those things. And so for you, is that part of your quest going forward? Is to find love or have love find you?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. So what are some of the things that you're doing to kind of bring that into fruition for yourself?
By speaking, sharing my story, sharing what I've been through, and hopefully somebody will relate to it and want to reach out to me.
Gotcha. So your purpose of telling your story is not just to help other people who have gone through the things you've gone through, which is prison or even the lifestyle identity. You're hoping through your truth that you can find someone who can relate enough to you that would spend their life with you, if that's, I don't know, if that's what you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Um, all right. Which I think is cool, right? I think that's cool. I just think and it's nothing against that when I say I just think. I'm just saying that normally trauma bonding, it doesn't always lead to the best relationships down the road. No matter what sexuality you claim, right? Heterosexual or homosexual. Trauma bonding is always a moment in time for most people that I know who came together based on that. Why? Because when there's no more trauma to bond on, then what do you have left? You know, most people they find themselves healing, but because they've held on to these things so long that the moment the healing starts to come, they revert back to it, right? In some type of way. Because for some people, that negative feeling that they feel based on life gave them a sense of how they moved around, right? That whether they gave them a sense of control over their life, the negative part and not the positive. So
Well, I don't think I'm looking for trauma bonding. I'm looking for somebody that went through a hard situation and came out stronger on the other side.
that's cool.
I'm not looking for somebody that is living in the past. I'm looking for somebody that wants to live in the future.
Okay, good. I get that. And so what you're saying to the people is that look, I want this, but I'm gonna be as fully transparent about myself so that way anybody that comes this way, they know exactly what they're getting. Right.
From
So I get
a relationship, from a romantic relationship to a friendship, I don't, what you see is what you get. I don't hide anything. And I
gotcha.
think it's important for everyone to be honest about who they are and to not be in fear of of being their true authentic self, because all secrets will be revealed. Be
Okay.
honest, make sure that your side of the street is clean and keep going, keep moving, and find somebody that you can relate to and that will build you up and will hold you accountable for your actions. Don't find
Gotcha.
somebody that's just going to say agree with you on everything. Find somebody that disagrees with you about something, that you can have a conversation, that you can be honest with.
Hmm. No, I
Your
agree.
partner should not be your only source of outlet. You need friends in your life. If you're a man, you need men in your life. If you're a woman, you need women in your life. Your partner cannot be your only source of comfort, of outlet.
Right. And that comes from like you said, having the right people around you, but at the same time, it's not that's not something that's just literally available to people. They have to find a tribe, so to speak. Right? People have to put themselves
The
in a
question
position
that
to
I
find a
guarantee
tribe.
is going to come from this: where do I find these people? That's what people are going to ask me. Where do I find these people? You're going to have to look around. They're not just going to show up on social media for you. You're going to have to be diligent and seek these people out.
Mm.
It's not going to come to you. If you want to, let's just say you have a goal, it's not just going to happen. You have to be in it. You have to have a plan of how you're going to get to that goal.
Yeah,
It's not just going to fall in your lap.
facts. Yeah, you have to work towards it. Anything that you feel like is important in your life, you have to work towards it, and you have to use every day too. There's no days off when it comes down to your life, right? And what you want out of life. There's no days off. So I agree with you 100% with that. Um, and yeah, to find certain people who relate to you, I think it starts with just what you just said, your story, right? Relatability always works, well, no matter what type of relationship it is, right? When people can relate to each other, there's always a sense of, you know, I don't know. I guess for me, it would be a sense of reassurance. Whenever you could be around people who get you, they don't necessarily. have to go through the things that you go through in order for them to understand that you've gone through something, that they, because somebody's bad and somebody else is worse. So I never like to compare bad, right, to people. Because there's somebody who said, yo, I broke a toe and that's bad. Then there's somebody said, man, I broke a leg. That's worse. No, it's just depending on the person. Whoever you are, whatever you went through is bad or worse for you, not for them. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody may have went through something that seems a little bit worse. The thing that I have an issue with is whenever people like to talk about things that went wrong with them, but not in the sense of where they take accountability for the things that went wrong with them. But you did. You said that the reasons why you went to prison were basically your fault. And very few people will come out and say that. So the fact that you have gone through all these things and then just politically being bullied based on politics, that's, to me, I just think that a lot of these things that people go through is unnecessary, right? Because it's not everybody's business. I mean, I don't care what people ask me. People can ask me a lot of things. That don't mean they're going to get the answer. It's not that you not being truthful or like you not, it ain't their business. And I think that's the part that people miss when it comes down to transparency in their lives. They feel like they have to tell everybody everything when it's not. No, it's not your business. It really ain't. And what are you going to do about the information that I'm giving you? Is it going to help you or help me? Which one is it? Because if not, then mind your business. I don't need to be telling you everything that is not that I don't need to tell you. So that's the only part that I can't relate to, right? And it's not a conflict battle with you or whatever. I'm just saying in the interim, I don't do that. And I really don't care who you are as a person. If it ain't your business, it's not your business. And I'm not going to tell you. It has nothing to do with a secret. It has nothing to do with, no, but like you said, if you got to take ownership of your own life. And sometimes people just want to know shit so they could talk shit. It's not that they want it because they really concerned about you or care. No. They probably just want it so they can have something to talk about or to make them feel better about their life. So they look at you and find out everything that's wrong.
Or leverage.
Or leverage to use against you later.
Right.
Right? But what I'm saying to you is that, yo, I agree with you in a lot of things that you said. The only thing that I would do is stop telling people my business, not in the sense of that you don't have to because your business is already out there. You got a book.
I do.
I'm saying in the sense, right? Yeah. So, right. But so my thing is that read the book.
Right.
That's what, unless you're doing interviews like this or conversations like this in the streets, read the book. But I don't need to be walking around telling you everything. And it's another thing too about, I feel when it comes down to relatability with people, there's so many things out here in the world that keep people separate, right? Black and white, short and tall, bald and hair, whatever you could come up with. There's something that's split down the middle for people to pick a side and be opposite versus the things that we have in common that make us alike, right? Because being creative is something that you are because you wrote the book. There's a lot of people who won't write a book. They got AI now that'll pretty much write it for you, but they still won't do it. Right? They still won't do it. Say that again?
Because of fear.
It could be. It could be. I think fear is one of the things that keep people from doing it, but I also think validation keeps people from doing things too. Right? Wondering if it's going to be received a certain way. Wondering if people are going to like it, if not like it. That thought process stops a lot of people from moving forward.
Was a lot of people want to be in comfort. They like everything status quo. They don't want to rock the boat. And unfortunately, a lot of people are in a dead-end job. They want to do this, but they're scared. There's a risk, right? I just remember my father could have started a business about 15, probably 20 years ago. And he decided that he was not going to take that risk. And I question, where would we be today if he had taken that risk? Gotcha. So this is my advice to you. If you are talented and you have a gift, indulge in it. Risk. It may not work, but it may. If you talk to anybody in business, every single person that's successful took a risk at some point in their life, probably many risks. Life is all about choices. You know, I looked at the book, The Road Less Taken by Robert Frost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It's the risk. You have to be willing to come outside your comfort zone. And the greatest reward is in that too. You know, I know I said it in the beginning of the show about how thankful I am when people support what I do. And I think the main reason why I do that is because I know how hard it is for people to believe in themselves. And sometimes people live vicariously through other people.
Yes.
Right. So whenever I continue to do something or help to push something forward, I feel like it's somebody else out here who is like, yo, I can do it. Yo, I can do it. You know, if he did it, I can do it. Because very seldom do people look at people that have done things before them and feel motivated. Some people see people that have done things and it turns negative for them because they feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be here. I'm more talented than them and I got more than this and I do more than that. But I ain't happening. You know, it ain't happened for me because most people don't understand that timing is everything. Right? And God's timing in your life has nothing to do with everybody else. It has everything to do with God, not you and not the people around you. It doesn't matter if a person seeing you doing something for 15 years and it still hasn't amount to what they think it's amounted to. But when you look at your life, because you stay so focused into your vision, you stayed out of jail, prison, right? You stayed out of a lot of trouble. You did all these different things because you believed enough in yourself to say that I'm going to try this. I've been in studios many a nights and many a weekends only to come out and hear about what happened to somebody else that I probably would have been around if I didn't feel like I had a 16 that I need to lay. So I feel so motivated and inspired to encourage people to believe in themselves. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with you is not so much the fact that you're gay and you're a Trump supporter and you went to prison, right? None of those things are the most important parts of why I wanted to have this conversation with you, right? Because there's people out here who support Trump that's not gay. It's people who went to prison that's not gay. And it's people who are gay and do both. So that don't matter. What I think matters is the perseverance of going through things that you've accepted in your life and not being afraid to express those with your book. Very few people will put things in a perspective to try to help others. They look at themselves as a victim. And so that's why I wanted to have this conversation with you. I didn't, because I could see how your story can be kind of sensationalized, right? Like you can get the wrong person interviewing you and it could turn negative, right? Because of just the fact that you identify as a gay Trump supporter. I think that's enough of a hook to make people be like, oh man, he support Trump, man. Let me get it. I get that. But for the most part, that wasn't the energy of why I wanted to have you on a platform because politics is not my thing as far as what we talk about on here. I'm just a person that is open to having conversation with people. And I think that's why my platform has been going on as long as it's have, and we had 179 episodes. It's not because I wanted to be the best at what I do. I wanted to be the best at allowing other people to tell their story. Right? That's why I tell all my guests that I don't really do an interview. I do a conversation. But if I have to pull information out of them, it sounds more like an interview. That's why I kind of preface everybody that comes on my platform, and this is a conversation, right? Because I don't want to have to pull too much out of a person, because if I pull something out and you don't like it, then you get upset, and I'm not going to care. I'm not saying it's about you. I'm saying about any guest. I don't care if you get upset, because I spoke to everybody and told them this is a conversation. The name of my podcast is Spark in Conversation, not Spark in Interview. So if I have to pull things out of you, people can't get upset about the questions I ask, right? Because I'm not going to care. And then it's going to turn into something else. So I'd rather a person be like you were today. Like, I had to pull things out of you, but at the same time, you still were able to articulate the things that you felt regardless, and to understand that you are on the spectrum, right? I've had other people on here that have been on the spectrum, right? Very few people can have conversations with people that in that particular perspective because they overlook the fact that, you know, that they've admitted to you that they already are there. So I'm thankful for you, bro. I just want you to know that. And I'm thankful, Matt, that you chose my platform to have this conversation with. I did a lot of research on you. I see that you're on a lot of podcasts and platforms, right? And you tell your story and you're not afraid to tell it. And I'm thankful for that, right? Because the situation that you've been in, whether it's the prison part, the sexuality part, or the bullying part, those are a few things that very few people like to come on here and talk about when it's their fault. And they'll come and talk about something that somebody else did to them or the reason that somebody else put them in a position. But very seldom will people want to come up here and say, yo, listen, I did this. I am this. I am that. But guess what? I turned this around. I did this. I did that. I had a lady on my platform. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to share this little thing. I had a lady on my platform. Her name is L.A. Pink, right? She was an ex-gang member. Grew up in the gangs, did all kind of crazy stuff, only to come out, turn around. Her life changed 360, and now she's an advocate for people in prison, helping them get out the gangs, and all these other things. Had it not been for her experience in the gang, she wouldn't be able to relate to people on how to get out of it.
Exactly.
Okay, so for you, that's the same thing. Whether you're looking for love in the position that you're in, understanding, or even companionship from people who can just be okay with understanding who you are, no matter what that is, it starts with us first, right? We have to be that for other people in order for somebody to be that for us.
Absolutely.
So again, I thank you, Matt, for jumping on the platform and telling your story. Is there anything else you would like the people to know before we get out of here? Just coming straight from you.
My book is Bully Behind Bars, a gay Christian Trump supporter goes to prison. It's available on Amazon. You can follow me on Instagram, Bully Behind Bars. X, Bars Bullied. Facebook, Matthew.melvin.5621. Email me, bullybehindbars@gmail.com. If you are going through something and don't know what else to do, reach out to me. I'd love to see if I can help you out.
Facts.
Don't
so for all of y'all,
silent.
Don't stay silent.
Don't stay silent. That's why the suicide rate among men is 5 times higher than with women. And don't use drugs and alcohol. It's just a mask.
Facts. So look, for all of y'all that's watching, all of y'all that watch tonight, for all of y'all that's going to watch the playback, man, I definitely appreciate y'all, man. And I hope y'all got something out of this conversation. If nothing else, I hope that all of y'all were inspired to just be yourself. I think that's my number one goal on this platform is just hopefully just to inspire people to be themselves and not be so worried about the way other people think about them. You know what I'm saying? Be you. That's the hardest thing for people to do is just be yourself. So again, thanks a lot, Matt. If y'all are out there and if you need somebody to talk to in any of these lanes, Matt said he's open. Make sure y'all find him on any of the social media platforms that he spoke about and just reach out to him. And even if it's just based on just giving him words of encouragement for being brave enough to tell his story, not just to say, because, just saying you support Trump alone is enough to get you people just to want to violate, right? Just because of the state of what's going on now. Because for some reason, people still think, never mind, I'm about to go too far. So without further, just let that go. For all of y'all, thank y'all so much. Y'all know the vibes. Next week, it's the same thing, man. I'm talking to the world's most interesting people. So I need y'all to fall in line and be in the building, all right? And so, remember, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So until next week, y'all,